10 signs of emotional immaturity. Hi, I'm Angie. Welcome to Life Squared.
Welcome to Life Squared, brought to you by the Perfectly Imperfect Network, from imperfect folk everywhere.
Signs of emotional immaturity. Maybe you're emotionally immature. Maybe you know someone that is. I oftentimes hear women talk about men that are emotionally immature when they're dating. Believe me, women are often emotionally immature as well. So let's not make this a gender thing. It comes in both genders equally. Number one, the person is self-absorbed. Everything's about them. You could say, I fell off of a bicycle, okay? And instead of them saying, oh, are you okay? They would say, well, when I was 5, don't even ask. I had this happen yesterday, and I said, well, I have a project that's doing really well. And there was not even a question, well, what's the project? And it was just fine. I didn't care, but I sort of noticed that we went into something else about this person. They didn't even pause long enough to say, what project? You know the people. You know if you're self-absorbed. Watch yourself. Try to be a little bit interested in what someone else is doing. You might learn something. Number 2, they don't repair relationships, okay? So when a relationship, has a problem, hits a bump in the road, what do? They hide or they end the relationship. The conflict is rarely, and I mean rarely, solved by someone that's emotionally immature. They will check out of that relationship. They will ghost it. It can be love relationships. It can be work relationships. It can be parental relationships. They check out of that relationship because they're not mature enough to deal with it or to deal with conflict. Number 3, they can't see another's perspective. They simply do not understand. I mean, technically they don't understand, but possibly they just don't care. I'm quite sure which way it is. Is it because they don't understand or they don't care? Maybe there's some of both there. But they can't see anything from another person's perspective. Number 4, they lack remorse or guilt when they do something wrong. They never apologize. They never set the record straight. You certainly don't want to get your life caught up in guilt because guilt can really hold you back. But you want to at least be able to feel guilt long enough to do something about it. Number 5, an emotionally immature person does what's best for them at the moment. And it's not necessarily what's best, it's what feels best. They don't seem to learn from the past. Why? Because a lot of times they're in denial, they're living in a fantasy world, they're not necessarily living in the moment. Number 6, they create chaos, conflict, and drama. In fact, in a way, they thrive on it. And in a way, that's how they take the attention oftentimes away from themselves. They will create chaos, drama, conflict. Other people react. They blame people for their reaction. Number 7, they have very little self-reflection. Why? Because they don't look at the past. It's about what feels best at the moment. That doesn't require one to look back and say, could I have done this differently? Number 8, they deny reality. They are deniers. And they have very little understanding of what's going on right in front of their face, even as they are a part of it. They really go back to what it feels like, not the reality. Number 9, they disregard the safety of others. If they feel like throwing a drunk person in the pool, they don't think about that. that it's not a good idea and that person's safety is a problem, just throw them in and hope somebody else gets them. They never really even think about the outcome. I've seen these things happen before. Number 10, they have no empathy. Emotions are out of order. It's like broken. Emotions that keep them in any way understanding another individual and their plight totally doesn't work. They can pass a homeless person on the street and not feel one thing, except those dirty people need to get out of the way. Homeless people on the streets, really, if you watch people around them, that lets you know who's empathetic and who isn't. Thanks for joining us here at Life Squared.
We really appreciate you joining us today at Life Squared on the Perfectly Imperfect Network. To get more content, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions or feedback, we'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Thanks for watching.